will watch it later. So welcome everyone to Transformative Learning Journeys. It's a real pleasure to have you all with us. We're Luz and David. This is the best picture that we have of us. So we show it at the beginning so that by the time we stop sharing the screen now, you can identify who we are within the diversity of bubbles that you can see in the screen. You can also put the option where you see the main person speaking in big and everyone else as small squares. And what are we here today for, Luz?
We are here to celebrate change. That's why I'm really excited, because life, it's going super fast. There are many things happening all the time, and we don't normally have time to stop, to reflect on the things that we have learned, or even to celebrate the small steps that we are doing. So we are here to celebrate those small steps transforming education. And also because I think that the ultimate goal for education is kind of an utopia, because transforming education means transforming the way we live and create a more sustainable world. So that's a really big goal, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. So I think that it's super important to celebrate the process and the small steps that each of us is taking towards that direction.
And you mentioned, well, each step, because I don't think we need to celebrate all the amazing successes, the things that we are more grateful for, and that we put it on YouTube and on social media, but really every step, the good ones and the ones that are not so great, because we learn the most of the things out of the things that don't work out as we expected. Mistakes are great learning opportunities. So we need to push ourselves to dream, to give it a try, to experiment. And this concept of experimenting or having an experimentation mindset, it's something that is very core in the way that we work at Evolving Education. Very often, we are afraid of doing things differently, particularly in education, because we want to do things perfect for children. We want to do what's best for them. But when we aim for perfection, we can prevent ourselves from actually taking action, from actually doing anything at all, doing any change. And that change is now more needed than ever. So it becomes easier if we think about it like experiments, like something that we're going to do to learn about the process and to learn what's going to be our next step. It might be that it works perfectly and then our next step is in the same direction, or it can be that we learned that we need to switch a little bit and move in a different direction or rethink something. So thinking about anything that we do to transform education, either within existing schools or creating new learning centers, as experiments that we do on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I think also the emergency situation that we are living right now, the climate change, the mental health challenges, and also the emergence of AI has really changed everything. So let's say that the traditional educational system has prepared everyone to achieve the same standards, but we are all different. So it's actually not supporting everyone to develop their own strengths. And many times we just focus on what is missing or judging the weaknesses. And I don't think that we can continue doing the same thing. I think that we need to support young people to live fulfilling lives. And now I think change is not an option, but a necessity. So in a world in which automation is taking over, it's super important to support young people to find their purpose and discover what are they really passionate about, what moves them. Also in the era of over-information, it's super essential also for young people to develop critical thinking and decide the role that they want to play in the world. And also in a world where the mental health problems are reaching numbers that are really scary, it's super important to learn how to live in community and how to relate with each other and creating that world that we want to live in.
Yeah, in essence, moving from an ecosystem to an ecosystem, learning to live in community. And we believe that building robust communities is one of the most meaningful things that we can do right now. And that's why we're putting lots of effort and energies into building this strong community of Evolving Education. This is an open session of the alumni network of Evolving Education, of the people that have gone through our training program, the Learning Expedition, and that they will be sharing their innovation projects and the things that they're working on, their context in which they are doing things differently in different parts of the world. And we're going to keep on nurturing this network, this community, having more gatherings and meetings along the months. So stay with us today to learn about the stories of education transformation of Joao, Mahedi, Garima, Brooke, and Claire, each of them from different contexts, so you will be able to choose between 3 key areas to dialogue and go deeper in this workshop, focusing on family learning, community learning, and school transformation. We will also share with you a digital magazine with the 20 innovation projects of the people from the learning expedition and the tools that they used. We ask each participant to write on 1 or 2 pages one of those experiments that they had conducted, and answering 3 questions, focus on describing the educational practice, the tool or skill that they use, why they found it valuable for their context, to tell us how they actually put it into practice, what was that experiment, how they moved from theory to the real world, and finally, to reflect on their experience, what they learn about themselves, what they learn about their community, what they learn about what they want to do next. And by the end of this workshop, you will know more as well about the next edition of the Learning Expedition, which will start in 2024, and how you can access it.
Fantastic. But now let's start experimenting how it feels to learn in a different way. And yeah, if you were hoping to have a theoretical presentation in which we were going to be speaking all the time, that's not going to happen. Like, we are going to bring all the collective wisdom that is in this room. So let's start just getting to know each other and share a little bit about something special about ourselves. So I would like to invite you to reflect about this question. What is your dream? I don't know if you remember the last time that someone asked you, what is your dream? Or you have the opportunity to share with someone else and hear someone else's dreams. So now we are gonna divide into pairs, and just in 5 minutes, we're gonna share about our dreams.
Let me set up the room so that they're really well structured, because I see, for instance, Karima, it's into devices, so to make sure that you're just in one of them. Okay, and I see everyone is now distributed in different rooms, either with 2 or 3 people. Joao and Petra, I'm gonna put you in different ones, otherwise you'll be talking with someone you know already very well.
Okay.
Fantastic. So I'm gonna open the rooms, and you're gonna receive an invitation to join and share what's your dream.
Okay, 9 seconds. People is coming back. 3, 2, 1. Aha.
Okay, now we got everyone back.
Yes.
Yeah?
So thank you very much for sharing that dream, and I hope you have fun reflecting about and thinking about your dreams. I think that we have to talk a lot about our dreams for them to come true. And the more we talk about them, the closer we are to actually get them. So I would like to share a little bit about my dream. So when I was little, I dreamed to travel around the world and learn from different cultures. I also dreamed to being an actress, but all those dreams didn't fit really well into the ideal of success that is in society. So I kind of reframe my dreams to something that fit better into the world that we live in. So it was like getting a good job and having a house and then having children. But when I got all that things, when I got that good job and everybody was like really well, it was like, I don't think I'm actually really happy. It felt kind of a lie, because it was like I was expecting that when I achieved that thing, I was gonna be happy, but it wasn't the case. So I realized that maybe the dreams I have fulfilled were not actually mine, but the ones that society has set up for me. So here is when I started thinking about, what do I really want? What is my passion? And I always have wanted to have a positive impact in the world. And I think for me, education is the key. It has the potential to really transform the world. So I train as a teacher, but then when the preparation I received, it was like, this seems it hasn't evolved too much since I went to university. And I don't think it's actually supporting children and young people to live a fulfilling life. So I thought, okay, there should be something else. I just don't know about it. So I did my thesis on innovative methodologies in education, and found out that there actually were many schools around the world that were doing things in a completely different way. They were actually supporting children's emotional development, creativity, critical thinking. So it was okay, I want to do that in my classroom. So when I started teaching, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do everything differently. And it was like the second shock against the wall. Like, wait 1 second, I don't really know how to translate that beautiful theory into the practice, because I have never seen spaces working in a different way. So then is when I was like, David, what if we go and research, visit the most innovative schools around the world, go with the camera, with our notebook, and study how do they work and how are they doing things in a different way. And that's how evolving education started, like 5 years ago.
Close to 5 years now, yeah. Let me share my dream with you. My dream is to support people to create projects that positively impact the world. I love learning, and the more I learn, the more I'm aware that we already have a lot of tools and resources to make this possible. But often we don't know about it, or we don't know how to implement it. And that's why I focus in supporting people to develop their potential. And that has taken me to work in many different areas, from building research teams in biomedicine, managing alliances to develop new technologies, creating incubation programs for social innovators, and facilitating personal development workshops. For instance, at Cambridge University, recently at the Ecoversities Alliance, and at Ashoka Social Entrepreneurship Network. Still, the most transformative experience that I have experienced in my life has been to go with Luz and seeing these amazing learning spaces around the world, because it truly transformed me. It truly has made me question how I live, what are my inspirations, what are my habits, and how can I support other people to really follow their passion. And above all, it gave me hope, because the children and adults that we found on those spaces, they show me that learning spaces and schools can be seeds to transform the world into a more sustainable and fair societies. And what's more, this is already happening all around the world. But we all know that there's a lot yet to do. Most children do not have access to these new learning models. And many of you who are already working to make this possible know that this is not easy. So that's a little image of our research around the world, where we have been researching the work of more than 150 people, pioneers of possibilities in education from 17 countries. And our mission now is to democratize this collective wisdom so that more and more people can access it. But as I said before, this is not easy, and that's why we have created the Learning Expedition. And this is a launchpad to transform education, focusing on those core pillars that you can see there, like life skills, learner-centered education, lifelong learning, and community-based learning. This is a personal and professional development program to transcend from teacher to facilitator of meaningful learning, empowering young people to take responsibility of their own learning, creating pioneering learning spaces where children and youth can flourish using design thinking, and joining a global community of value-driven education changemakers. And you're going to hear from a few of them today. Finally, we know to make this possible, we know that it's not enough with just knowing about the tools. The tools, you can find many of the resources, methodologies on Google, but actually the biggest challenge is to develop the mindset to make this possible. And that's why we have developed the methodology that we call Expedition. And it's focused on these 3 steps: to explore, experience, and express. We first explore the tools of the world's most progressive learning centers: holistic, socio-constructivist, self-directed, agile, democratic, and not just learning about them, but really experience them in first person as a learner in the way that we manage our learning community, and developing experiment in your own context. This is the second step. And finally, when things don't work out or when you need more support, to have a space where you can express yourself, a supporting community of people that are aligned in values and are walking in that same direction. We have just opened actually the doors of the next edition of the Learning Expedition. And if you'd like to know more about it, I'm gonna share in the chat a form that you can fill in if you would like to access the full program and see how it works. Although we'll tell you a little bit more about it later on in the presentation.
But now let's go to the interesting part of sharing that all that learning that the participants of the learning expedition have done. So now we are gonna do a dynamic called celebrity interview. And let me share a little bit the structure so you know how it works. First, each of the participants are gonna present in 7 minutes a little bit about themselves and also about their context, their projects. So the context and the projects. Then we are gonna have around 15 minutes in which we are gonna create 3 different rooms with different topics, and you can select the projects that you are more interested on. And there you're going to have the opportunity to either ask questions, share your own experiences, or whichever is a space to share. And that's going to be around 15 minutes. I'm sure it's going to be short, but just take the most out of it as you can. And then there's going to be a last step of sharing the conclusions together. So we are going to come back to the main room and share all the conclusions for approximately 10 minutes. So today, let me go to this slide. The celebrities that we have in the day is in the family learning, we have Joao. Yay! Then in the community learning, we are gonna have Mahevi and Claire. Yay!
I'm Brooke.
Sorry, yes. I'm Brooke. And then in the school transformation, we are gonna have Garima and Claire. Yay! Okay, so now let me create the rooms.
But before that, we're gonna have the individual presentations. So just jump one step. So let's start maybe just in let's say in alphabetical order. We could do it in any way. So I guess we'll start with Brooke and then Claire.
There you go.
Brooke, are you ready to share with us about Equinox ALC?
Yes, I can do that. Okay. I didn't know, should I put like my thing up that like my presentation or
whichever way works best for you. Yeah.
Whatever works. Okay. I think I can share. Let me see. I'll share my screen. Okay. Can you guys see this? Yes. Okay. Let me present it so I can kind of, you might be able to see a little bit more. Okay. So I started my personal practice that I chose with the Learning Expedition was agile management tools. A little bit of context I will start with. So I am I've been a special education teacher for the past 10 years. I've worked with neurodivergent students in the elementary level, which was amazing. I have my master's in special education, and I'm also a board certified behavior analyst. So I have a lot of experience in public education. And 5 years ago, I became a mother. And then 2 years ago, I became a mother again. So I am in the, in the beginning journey of motherhood. And as all of that has happened, right, I've definitely shifted and changed a lot in my own personal journey. And through that, through my motherhood journey, I was introduced to acceptance and commitment therapy, which is a therapy that helps support your psychological flexibility. And I found in my journey through my postpartum experience, I needed that significantly. Very challenging. And the big focus on acceptance and commitment therapy is values and how do you COVID realizations. As you know, terrible as COVID was for many people, there were a lot. Recording's back. Okay. So yeah, through all of that kind of COVID realizations and becoming a mother, I went back to the public education setting last year, and it didn't sit well with me. A lot of the things. And through that, I found agile learning centers and was just kind of blown away by the possibilities. So when I started the learning expedition, I figured I have to be able to like walk the walk before I can say I can open an agile learning center. So I implemented agile management tools into my family practice. If you see down here, this Bruce guy, he has an agile TED Talk. I would suggest listening to it if you're interested. It kind of really shifted the way I thought about using agile management tools in my own family. So yeah, agile management tools, they provide visible feedback, and they help you like see your, they just kind of help visualize what it is that you're working for, what it is that you want to do. And it allows you to visually see that with your family. And so it aligned really well with what I wanted to do. And so I wanted to practice that with my family first. So we did that all throughout the summer. And it was awesome. We put everything. So this was kind of our experiment. This is my board, which obviously has been written on by my children. But so we would plan our days and we'd set the week. And we would figure out, we would do offerings and requests on things that were important to us. We would set the week by kind of planning those things. And then, we just kind of spent our summer doing the things that meant a lot to us, learning community. So we transformed our entire basement into our learning community for my family. And then more recently, in the past month, since I've made this project, our learning center, it's called Equinox. And so I am all about balance. So I thought Equinox was an appropriate name. The goal is to bring more balance to my family. Our next steps right now are trying to get people to come to our little agile learning center, and hopefully just support the community in however it needs and however is what we've been up to. And if you're curious some more, on my Instagram, we're Equinox_ALC. So you can follow that journey. Or I also have Curious and Courageous is another one that I'm using, another Instagram that I'm using to kind of support people in their journeys of using agile management tools with their families. So you can follow me along there. That'd be great. And I can stop sharing this.
Amazing. Thank
Awesome.
you, Brooke.
Yeah, that's me.
The journey.
Thank you.
Since the first time that we spoke a while ago, that you were thinking whether leaving your full-time job to focus on this passion, to now that you have moved to practicing with the ALC tools in your family, and now even opening your own learning center. I'm sure that in a year or so, we're going to be talking about how you manage that communities of families that you're having now, whether the basement is big enough or not for a plan. So.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I hope so.
It's a process. It's those
process.
Experiments. So great to have you
Yes.
in our community.
Yeah.
And
I invite the people to take notes and have in mind questions that maybe you would like to ask her later on. The timer.
we have the timer set up over here.
Fantastic.
So actually, you can choose later, maybe if you want to tell us whether you would rather share in the room, focus on family learning or on community learning, because you actually are there in between the two of them.
Could go both, yeah.
So I think it's Claire coming next.
To give you context, I wanted to share background about the school, to educate students today so that they are prepared to solve future problems that have not yet been identified, using technologies not yet invented, based on scientific knowledge not yet discovered. So this really kind of, highlights the fact that, like, we can have simulations about what's going to happen, but ultimately we don't necessarily know what kind of jobs are going to exist and what learners, you know, what they need to be studying. So the best we can do is really prepare them in the most holistic way possible and to tackle and navigate a changing futuristic landscape. So about School of Humanity, actually, before I do that, so about School of Humanity, we launched, we're an online high school. We launched as a September 2022, sorry, last year. We started with a cohort of 20 learners from 10 different countries, and this year we've grown to two cohorts with 48 learners in total and 15 different countries. As I said, it's online, but we do have two hubs. We've got a hub in Dubai and a hub in Bristol. So the hub is basically where there's like a concentration of learners and they go to a co-learning space. So while their sessions are still online, they're still online learners, but they have the in-person aspect as well, so they can meet and do kind of work on their projects together and things like that. So our mission is to enable the next generation to create a purposeful future for themselves and for humanity, and the vision is to reinvent our global education system. So the way that we do that is by tackling real world challenges. The learning is personalized, so learners can choose what challenge they want to work on, what their personal project will be, what skills they need to develop, focusing always on jobs of the future and developing the skills for the future. They collaborate with each other as opposed to teaching in isolated subjects. So a learner will choose a challenge. Okay, the learners will choose a challenge, and then within that challenge, and it's relevant. Okay, all right, that's the recording thing is putting me off a little bit.
Apologies, Claire. It says
Okay, just to give you some examples.
You get a couple of extra minutes.
No, don't worry, don't worry. These are things that happen. It's, you know, I work in an online school. These are just things that happen. So yeah, just to give you some examples of the sorts of challenges we do, future of the internet. So learners will choose a challenge that they want to work on, and then they will explore it from an interdisciplinary perspective. So what does that mean? If we use designing space habitats as an example, they might look at astronomy. So looking at, you know, where might we kind of develop a space habitat? They might look at the physics, or the chemistry. How can life be supported in space? Or psychology, for example, what would it be like to travel in a spaceship for 2 years to get to Mars? What is the psychology involved with that? What about the ethics? Is it morally right to you know, to develop a new planet, or should we be focusing on solving the problems we have here? So from that one kind of overarching challenge, you can really explore a lot of different disciplines and build that into the challenge itself.
Hello.
So just over the course of a term, because it's challenge-based learning, we follow a specific program throughout the term. So we have the engage phase where we explore the challenge, the investigate phase where learners break it down into a sub-challenge that they specifically want to tackle themselves, the act phase where they're designing a solution, building some kind of prototype that they can then present or kind of to tackle the problem they've identified, a micro internship where they work with a real organization aligned with the challenge. So if they're doing designing space habitats, for example, they'll work with an organization that's related to space in some context. And then the showcase at the end where they're presenting their work. In addition to the challenge, they have skill units which they can choose. So they choose which skill units they want to work on, and they work on those asynchronously, building up their credits as they go through. It's all credit based, so they work towards a mastery transcript. So at the end of when they graduate from the high school, they'll have what we call a mastery transcript, which is where they can show their portfolio of work and also what credits they've built up and worked on over the course of their high school. And these are just a few of the other things that we do as well. We have, over the course of a week, we have community time. They have the human flourishing. They have pathway advisory, which is where we kind of help them think about future pathways, you know, if they want to go to a traditional university or a progressive university, or if they want to go into entrepreneurship or direct to industry, you know, we kind of talk about the options and think about how they or what they need to do to get there. We have a skills lab, we have a quant lab, which is more focused on mathematical skills. The mentorship is again where they can talk to an expert in their challenge. We have masterclasses where we have guest speakers who come in to talk to the learners, and we look for, you know, people from all walks of life so that they have that contact with learners, with professionals. The micro internships and the global showcase at the end, where they show and share their work. So that was the kind of the context of the school. And now the learning expedition, this was my experience. I joined last year, just really curious about I don't know, about all the different things. I'm anyway kind of very much involved in the kind of progressive education network, very curious about what people are doing around the world, and for me this just kind of spoke to me and it resonated, so it made sense to participate in this program. And from my experience, learning by doing, experiential learning, so a lot of what was on the platform and what we were learning about, we were doing in the live sessions. So a lot of the agile learning tools, for example, we were actually using, and by doing it in the sessions, we were learning what it meant and how it felt like to be the learner, which I thought was great. It was self-paced and personalized, so you could work through the platform at your own pace. And then you could also kind of choose which bits you were more interested in or had time for, or whatever, but you know, you can kind of move through the journey at the pace that you needed it to be. There was the networking and community building, the different phases of the program, which was really nice. The way we had the sea of autonomy and all of the different phases was a really lovely way it was set out. There was the mentorship and the guidance from experts. So it was very interesting listening to the interviews with people around the world who were doing interesting things and kind of explaining how they did that. And then for me, what was really interesting was the final areas, the democratic learning, the sociocratic learning, and this agile learning centers. So the self-directed learning, that whole aspect was really enlightening to learn more about that, and it's something that I continue to want to learn more about through this kind of introduction to it. So how would I implement it at School of Humanity? I mentioned that one of the programs, or one of the not classes, one of the sessions we have each week is called community time. And in the community time, it's an opportunity for, it's kind of less structured. It's when the cohorts come together and we just kind of talk about the things that are coming up. So for example, if there's a micro internship project that's about to start, then we'd explain to the learners what's happening. So it's an opportunity to kind of touch base with everybody once a week. And I thought that would be a really useful time to apply some of these tools. So I was going to see if I could set up the change up approach and have a community mastery board and kind of introduce the learners to that whole process of for them to participate essentially, and to gain their perspective and their involvement in how we run things and how we do things at the school. The offerings and requests I think is really nice as well. So you know, again, in community time, learners who have achievements, for example, or who have extracurricular activities, or who've presented, or whatever, it's an opportunity for them to present to their peers. So I wanted to maybe try and incorporate that as offerings and requests, or kind of include that in there. And the gratitude circle also is a really lovely idea. I don't know if we'll have time to do it on a weekly basis, but I was thinking maybe on the monthly basis, trying to incorporate that again into the community time. So it'll be a case of kind of seeing how it all fits together, but to have this as a regular activity that we incorporate into our ways of working. And we use Miro a lot. So I know in the learning expedition we use Mural. Miro is very similar. It's just the platform that we use at School of Humanities. So setting up something like this for their mastery board. So here we have the observations or the awareness, where learners can kind of put on there the things that they've observed or that they want to make others aware of, to have suggestions and to brainstorm suggestions and then decide on a solution, and then to implement it or to practice it, to see if it's working, to try it out, and then essentially if it does work, then it becomes part of the culture and it becomes mastery. So the school then embraces that as part of their culture. So that's, haven't tried it yet. That's the plan. We literally just launched the high school yesterday. Not launched, but we came back yesterday. So we haven't had the opportunity to try it yet, but I'm looking forward to testing it out with the learners and seeing how they take to it and how that works. And then finally, the requests and offerings as well. I've added that to the same Miro board. So just really to kind of, so it's just one go-to board where they can apply everything. And I guess it's just a case really of kind of teaching the learners or training the learners how to use it, and then incorporating it into our kind of weekly process and community time session. And I think that was the end.
Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you, Claire.
Happy to answer any
Quite
questions.
a comprehensive program. I'm sure there's going to be lots of people interested to know more. We're going to have in a room, Claire, also with Garima later on about school transformation, because this is a transformative type of high school that I'm sure there's going to be lots of people interested in learning more about how it works and some of those components. So we move now then to Garima, actually. So Garima from India, she's going to tell us about democratic education, I believe.
Yeah, so I'm here with my screen and voice from two different places. So sorry for that, just cooperate with me. Hi, I'm Garima from India, and I'm trying my best to just sum up with whatever I'm doing. So first, I'm just going to share with you all who I am. So I'm a meditative person. I'm into meditation since years. I'm into yoga since years. So that is something which makes the base of my personality. The second thing is I'm also a trainer. I'm into early childhood training and lots and lots of trainings I'm doing it. Phonic trainer, and I don't know what. I catch up to all sorts of training where I get teachers and I can get hold of them and catch them and just express and know what they're doing. So this is what I am today. But the thing which is nearest to my heart is the prenatal program, which I started doing when I became mother. So it's 20 years back, my friends, I became mother, and because of my education also and my interest also, I started doing Garbha Sanskar, which is known in India, and it's a prenatal which is known all over the world. So these are the kids and the glimpses of my classes and the glimpses of the kids I have been working with, fathers and everyone. And then after doing this, I really wanted to inculcate the infant massage thing, which India had it, the most nurturing program for children, for infants, where mother used to do. But now no more it is there. So I did my IAIM certification, and I am also with the infant massage thing. I started with mother toddler also. There are thousands of pictures of my classes on the Facebook. So because this early childhood education is something which always attracted me. So I did mother toddler. It was like 2011 we launched it. It's 13 years back we did it. And I started doing it with my son was a toddler, and then I wanted to launch a program also. So I built it, I organized it, and then planned it, and there had been a very wonderful experience. Further, I also had this from Garbha Sanskar prenatal to I moved to the mother toddler program to preschool. It never started all together once. It was always a baby step moving ahead slowly. So I started with preschool also with the care where kids were taken care of, because I wanted to give kids a secure place where they are heard, where they can do whatever they want to. So there are lots of celebration and classes pictures. You can find it on Facebook. And this was still collaborated. I grew further, and then I established the Arc International School. So it was in 2017, we got that affiliation till level 5. And what we used to do was everything was planned, and it was according to Montessori, Maria Ma'am, and whatnot I studied. But the thing was, every time it was planned, and every time what we gave to children was from the teachers, and we used to tell kids what we are going to do. And that really that really caused I should say unsatisfaction in me. I really wanted to have that unlearning or self-led learning part, which I want every child to absorb. So I started my learning, and again curiosity stood growing. So I visited few open learning communities in India like Swaraj and Shikshantar in Udaipur, and I was a follower of Lewis and David Evolving Education, and I did with them this project. And what happened was I gained confidence. And this session, when we started in India, we opened and we have declared in our city. Indore is a small city in Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh is a state, and people are not so open. So I declared that mine is going to be a democratic school now. So we cannot have a democratic school also, but we have to keep a pace with whatever the curriculum is there. So after attending Lewis and David's session on transformative learning and self-led learning, I could collaborate, I could learn things where I can match this. So I can give freedom to children. I can also collaborate and do the curriculum, what is expected. So I have designed this in a way. So we are just trying, it is still an experiment. So it is like the day plan is we have our assembly, and then kids are free to come up with their own prayers and pray to the deity, whatever their parents are doing at home. And then they are asked to do the exercise. So when we started it first, so they started copying the teacher. If you can see this, this is shared on Instagram, my page itself. So, and there is no rule now. They don't have to sit in a line, and they can sit anywhere, wherever they want. So they came, there were two teachers, and they started doing yoga. So kids also started doing it. So this is how we start our day. Then we have the circle time, which I learned from David and Lewis, that we need to talk, we need to collaborate, we need to just speak to children what they would like to do. So in circle time, we give them questions, ask them, or maybe increase their curiosity. They share what is going on in their life and what they would like to do today. So then they have two compulsory lessons. It's one language and then one concept. And then they select what they have to do. After having two compulsory lessons and a period of lunch, they are given that ECC classroom. So this is what me and my teachers, we came together. So if I want to launch a democratic school, I need to have my staff also who can and I can just ensure that they are also contributing and they are having the freedom of choice. While working with children, I cannot have staff tamed and have children, means cannot give freedom to children when my teachers are just tamed by me. So it was like months of talking to them that this is what I would like to go further. And then we came up to a ECC classroom where the full form is like explore, construct, and create. So here kids come up with their own ideas, and then they express this is what we would like to do. And then this is like a collaboration, they all do it together. So they express it to the teacher, and then they do it together by when teacher is guiding them. So if you can see, this is pot making. So the younger ones are like, they are watching the elder ones, and then they are repeating few things. The elder ones, they come up with so many ideas out there. Here is like we wanted to give them some freedom in music, so we called it two dholak wala was there, two boys who can you see those, they are from the slum areas, and we called them, okay, if you can come up with your instrument. So the teachers were participating and kids were participating, and they were free to learn. It was not music, but yes, at the end of the day, when we realized that it was fun and music. Here she's Tushti, she wanted to make her own globe. So a teacher supported her to complete this project. So it was her initiative. I wanted to make a globe, and then she represented all the oceans. And there were so many hurdles which are coming in. When I declared that we are going to be a democratic school, there were parents who left us, but now I'm only left with 30 students in my school. But I have the satisfaction of giving what really kids want in their life and what should be given to them. An atmosphere which is free, a mentor who is really free and unconditioned from all those past. So my kids are happy, they are enjoying, and whatever you are seeing on the board are nothing which is given an example by the teacher. Okay, you do this. This is not taken up. Kids are coming up with something, what is going on in their house. So someone spoke about ki my mother cooks in solar cooker, and they were asking what is a solar cooker. And then they came about with an idea ki ma'am, we want to make a solar cooker. And then this is how they all are doing it. So that ECC is a 90-minute classroom. And then they keep on doing it. And this is the last video which I would like to share, just show you. This is the recent project they did. They wanted to make something out of the clay. They want to construct a house or utensils, but they started this project with constructing a house, tearing the newspaper and making clay out of it. And it took 2 to 3 weeks to complete this, but the end was not construction of the house. It was construction of something else. This is the clay they created. And it ended up I want you all to see how it ended up here. And because when they go home, they talk to their parents, and the parents are like giving up some of the other examples. Okay, you can do this. They keep on Googling or seeing it, but see, they are all engrossed in what they are doing. And this was kids' decision to change, and this is what has come up, their own utensils. So they cherish, and whenever there is a PTM in my school, kids are like showing everything to their parents, and they are happy to share. So my all gratitude goes to Luz and David, to the program which I have attended, because I am a learner, but that boosted my confidence. If no one is there behind me, I have a supporting community. I have a circle of people who believe in this thought that freedom should be given. I know it is going to take a long time to come up in my city, because I'm one of few person to be counted on fingers talking about this. I'm a weirdo in my city, a crazy someone who can have more kids with the formal school, but having less kids with something what I'm making them eat what they don't want to eat. So yes, let me see what comes next. But again, my gratitude to Luz and Dave. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you, Garima, for sharing. Super inspiring.
I sum up here, okay?
You have found so many different ways in which to provide choice in a way that, you know, it's kind of experimenting with choice, experimenting with freedom, experimenting with collaboration, with using the different resources and tools. And I'm sure this is also helping the families to see how that's actually transferring into the self-confidence of the children, their ability to make their own decisions, and to speak with each other and speak out what they think and what they
and
believe
bringing
in.
the community together. Like once that they get also involved, like there is a lot of learning there that can appear. And
awesome. I think when these changes happen, it is maybe normal that there's a little that shrinkage of the group of families that are bound by the project. But then as it kind of establishes itself, then the opposite process can happen, and then you start attracting more people that are aligned with those new values and that new way of working. So I'm sure it's going to happen, and congratulations for all the work. I'm looking forward to have you at the learning expedition, the next edition, because Garima actually rejoined the program to
thank you.
We got next, I think.
Yes, I am a part of it, and I'm not going to stop the learning.
Awesome.
Thank you for all the trust. Joao, I think it's your turn if you want to share with us. So we have talked
yes,
so far with
it's so nice to hear.
Go ahead.
Okay, I can wait if there is an introduction.
I was gonna say that we are moving around the world. So we started in the US with Brooke, then we went to speak with Claire, who is currently based in Chile, but actually running an international program with hubs in Dubai and in Bristol. Then we have learned from Garima what is the revolution that she's bringing in India, and now we're gonna learn about unschooling and family learning with Joao in the Netherlands. And also he brings an aspect of Portugal because he's originally from there. All yours, Joao.
Okay, thank you. I'm very happy to share what has been happening through my journey. It's still a lot happening so fast, so I'm really trying also to sort of compose myself with the speed of the journey. And well, there's not much time really to sometimes to think about it, but just doing it, because these children, they really grow very fast. Very inspiring to hear all the stories, and I like to also then to share a little bit how I felt inspired to take this course, what came out of the course for me, and how I've been applying it. And it sort of fitted very well with where I was coming from through my journey. And we did this course from the beginning of this year. I think we started in January or February. So there's already now a couple of months going. And the context to that is that we, about 2.5 years ago, we start thinking about unschooling. We have a daughter now, which is 4.5. And we never thought about doing unschooling or homeschooling or anything like that. But somehow meeting through friends, things just building to start questioning how to go about and give our children I don't know, passion for education, or giving a fair chance to learn things very dependently and with freedom, with love. And then we met someone who told us about unschooling, and that in India they have these centers where there is not a school. People come together, they spend time there learning things, like exploring, expressing. So we start getting to this topic about 2.5 years ago. Our daughter was about 2.5 at that time, and she started then going to daycare. Aquí in the Netherlands, it's very flexible. We had our child there for 2 mornings a week, sorry. And we were getting ready for what was going to be the unschooling, because everybody around us all the time is asking us, where is they going to go to school? Where is the school? And oh, it's almost 4. Oh, which school is going to go? It's like constantly like the first question. And now that she's 4, here in the Netherlands, by the age of 4, they have to leave the daycare and they go to already the sort of official school. And so the first question is, it's already going to school. Great, which one? So there was this anticipation coming, and the pressures. Everyone always asking me if I share the context that we were thinking about going this way. Oh my God, how are you gonna teach your child? Are they going to learn? This is a question from even a member of my family. But are they going to learn to read or write? So it just shows how it's a very scary sort of image to have, and to have someone so close for them like me, then they really were very confused and worried. They still are, to be honest. So we prepared ourselves. We've been reading lots of books about education, alternative ways, and schooling, and slowly we got more and more comfortable with it. And then this chance to do this course came along, which we took, and we're very pleased, because I think, like already so many people said, got to meet other people that are thinking the same way, love education, wants to sort of free children to be able to learn with no limits, and not to get depressed and things like that. And to see all the work that is happening worldwide, for the interviews that we were part of the course. We had access to this platform where different topics that we touched upon along the course, we could see different people talking about those parts, and it was very inspiring. And I love to be able to watch it again, like 3 or 4 times, just to keep repeating and getting really in my head all the things that they share, and the nice expertise and suggestions. And from there, I sort of felt very intrigued with project-based learning, because for me, that is what it makes more sense, being wanted to take the opportunities at home with the family, anywhere, having a chance to talk and observe. I think it's about just observing and questioning, bringing this curiosity to actually to myself as well, because that's, I noticed how I start to question things, because now I notice things, but I want to transmit that to my children. And I think the first breakthrough for me in this topic was once I picked her up from when she was at the daycare, this kindergarten, and we have in the Netherlands, it's very common to have these back feeds. I think I've seen them more around the world, but I think they were very pioneers. So these back feeds where it's like a little bucket in front, very big, and you fit 2 or 3 children there shopping and bicycles and things. And I was coming down the street, a little bit of a slope, and I'm playing with her. Of course, she was not even yet 4, and I said to her, let's see if we can fly. And of course, she was like super happy with that idea, and there was excitement. And so I suggested, let's open our arms. So we, like the birds do, they put the arms, they open their wings, and we get the air underneath. Let's see if we can lift up. And of course, by the end of the slope, we were still very much attached to the ground and bouncing. And we sort of acknowledged the fact that it was not possible to fly. And we just very quickly thought that perhaps the reason is we are too heavy. And that was it, but it just lingered in my mind, and I was so happy with this moment that we had together. And I knew that I was trying to give her something to learn about real life, laws of physics. And that really stayed for me. And then during this course, we touched upon project-based learning, and that for me was then part of my project. That then we had a project to do. I took that on, and I still do it. And for this time during the course, I picked on the fact that my daughter, the oldest one, is always going on about rainbows. There's all rainbows, and there's ponies, and it's all glittering. But the rainbow, since she saw it also in the sky once, of course, then we pointed out, and it's beautiful, and we're always trying to find the rainbows. So I used that opportunity then to see if I could do a project-based learning. And the project-based learning has these different steps where the learning happens through different ways. So there is the one part is the research, trying to find out more about it. The second part is sharing and discussing the topic to talk about it. And then a third step is more like a hands-on assignment. So with that, with the rainbow, I remember telling her that, you know, the thing that makes rainbows is water and sun. You need the sun for sure, and you need water. So later on, I of course I remember that you don't only need just the water, you could have other meanings. But so I was learning as well. But at this stage was just you need the sun and the water. And I guess since we're talking about the rainbow, it's the sky, so it uses the water. And then I told her, let's see if we can make a rainbow. And she was like, huh? She was really excited. And we had the sun shining. We go to the back garden, and I had a water spray bottle, the ones that you do for the leaves. So it's really sprays very thinly the water, and we tried it. We sort of found our way to angle well the water with the sun, and that was a lot of fun. And then we did see through the mist of the water vapor that was coming out of the bottle, you do see the rainbow. And she was very excited. I was very excited. It was a small thing, but enough for us to feel quite a big success. And then from there on, I carried on pushing the topic of rainbow. I thought indeed that we could find other ways of learning about the rainbow. So we bought a prism from the online, and that gives another chance to create rainbows in the house on the white wall of our living room. And so this was now more on the practical and hands-on assignment. And I think it really works for me, and I like to be involved this way in also being I don't know if it is to be a teacher, but to convey knowledge, show her about the world, what is so interesting, and hopefully that she will keep this in mind about learning. And I think that through a second exercise, I'll just mention maybe quickly if I have time. because I also find myself learning and evolving in this project-based learning. During a conversation at the table eating, my daughter, she was like, I want to put this in my mouth and want to chew it. And from there, it was like, where does it go? And so big eyes, and we're like, And I do always have this big whiteboard where you can always scribble things. And I decided to draw a person on the side, showing the esophagus, going to the stomach, where the food is going to go here. This is all I knew, more or less, although, okay, a bit more complex. I know the intestines and so on. I am also a scientist by background. But I think what also then really stood out of this example that I was really happy is that I decided to take her to our study room. We have like a study room or music room. We call it actually the inspiration room. We went there. I have a book on the body anatomy, and I went to open it. And so for me, this action of like, hey, let's go and learn something more in depth or with other details. So taking her to this book, look at it. So for me, this is already sort of pushing her towards like, understanding that she wants to learn something. There are resources to go to. So, and then for the part of also doing the hands-on assignment, I really enjoyed it, was that I took her t-shirt off, and then with body paint, we drew the esophagus on her. We tried to find out where the stomach was, and then we did all the rest, and we talk about where does he go, the poo, and so on. But this whole thing, I have a feeling that she's really interested, she has fun, and she sort of is picking up concepts along. And I feel what I am discovering is that these project-based learnings, there is a lot of possibilities around. There's always opportunity. There's always something around the corner that can just be used. So I'm very happy that I got to be more aware of this way of learning. Now I can apply more, and I'm growing with this practice, and it makes me very happy that I have a lot of fun with my daughter. And yeah, this is how my experience and how my family learning environment has been shaping up. Of course, this is just my part. Petra also has her role, of course, and so yeah. But I'll just mention this part that I know well, and this is exactly more what I've been doing. And I think the important part that also I think is connected to this, I mentioned in my assignment, is the fact that I understood to a different level what motivation is to learn, and specifically with children that are very curious, and they are more interested to have fun, learn things, but not to be pushed on with information or knowledge that maybe they have no interest at all. So yeah, so I'll leave it there. It's my part about family learning environment.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I think that when the questions come from themselves, there is a full change they are fully passionate about the thing that they are learning, because they are actually the question came from themselves. So they want to explore and get to know.
Yeah, and amazing examples of how to take that anything that happens in our daily life as a moment of curiosity, and that curiosity driving learning, driving a process of research, of experimentation. Thank you very much, Joao. We'll have more time later on for anyone who wants to discuss with Joao how he's doing it and his family. And we move to the last person to share today, and he's Mahedi from Bangladesh. Are you over there, Mahedi? He's one of the managers of Anouk, and Anouk is a self-designed learning center, one of the developed by Project DeFi. So I'm looking forward to hear how he's using some tools to support young people to manage their own learning and projects.
Hello everyone. So I guess what I have learned from the learning expedition in a first sense, I have said, I would ask from you about your consent that I can share my journey with you. So if you have your consent, I can share my journey with you for the next few minutes. So I won't take that much time. Yeah, okay, you're okay with it? Okay. So,
Thank you.
who I am might not the most thrilling story, but what I do, well, that's where the fun begins for me. I guess that might interest you. So, I used to do filmmaking, but for the last 2 years, I have been running a space that we affectionately call Nu, a school, but not the typical one. It's like a no teacher, no rigid curriculum, no pesky syllabus, no boring textbooks, and no nail writing exam, and obviously no certain rankings. So just a self-designed education space. So maybe for some of you, it's a pretty normal thing, and maybe perhaps some of you find that it's something new and something that maybe feel a bit weird to some extent to some of you. But in the community I'm part of, in Borishal, it's kind of like a alien brainchild. Like people think that education and knowledge only derives from mainstream educational center or schools, and that are come with neatly wrapped with degrees. So on all this, but in here, apart from all those things like syllabus and exam and other those things, we have everything here in our learning center. Like we have tools, we have books, we have internet connection. Anyone can search anything in the internet if they wanted to make something for themselves or for the community, or maybe even for their personal need or interest. So they get that opportunity. And it's like it's not an easy journey. I would say, like I am here for the last 2 years, and I have seen people sometimes, yeah, struggle in self design education. Because when I have asked them, many people who are already matured, maybe 20, 25 years old and more than that, they even don't have idea about self-design education. So they are not encouraging their children or someone familiar to them to the self-design education. They are just forcing them to go to school, have some degrees, and secure some good jobs in good companies. So all those. But what we actually try to establish here, like one of the Richard's framing saying, I would say that study hard what interests you in the most undisciplined, irreverent, and original manner possible. So here learning is kind of spontaneous. Like you can learn about physics when you are working on theater drama or stage drama from using the light. So that's like a from they are not just targeted any zone that I will learn physics, I will learn chemistry. They are doing small projects, different kind of projects. So we have some certain rules, like we decided the rules of the space with the learners together. Like we sit together in the closing circle. Then we made up that okay, for next couple of months or next couple of weeks, we are going to follow certain things in the NOOC, and we, if we are all agreed to that, we will start to practice that. So what happens sometimes, like whenever new learners come to the space, they sometimes feel started to feel that they are a little bit less welcoming. They are not getting the priority because obviously who are the earlier learners who have joined the NOOC for more than 6 months or 10 months. They have they kind of understand yeah, that kind of place that is offering them the freedom to do anything. So they are like, okay, we can dance, we can just play cricket, and we can do anything else. But when new learner comes, they take some time to adjust the situation. They are, because in normal mainstream education, what we taught students, like you have to competitive, you have to get good marks than other, you have to be the best. But here it's the motto is collaboration. Like you have to help others. We can learn from each others. As I was saying that there is no teacher here, so people usually learn from by themselves. Other than they can learn from the peer groups, they can learn from others. Even sometimes we just went out to the community, like maybe for some to some cycle mechanic to help us to how to repair the leakage of the tube. So we learn from there. It depends totally on them, like from how they want to learn, what they want to learn, and from whom they want to learn and the medium of instruction they want to use in their learning journey. So but in the self-design education, there is a difficulties what I have been have faced. That's like it's the self-assessment or evaluation in the journey. Like if you don't have any kind of syllabus or what I can say, any kind of routine or exam. So it's sometimes really difficult. Okay, if I'm doing completely okay with my work or not. So sometimes it pushes the learners in the kind of uh, they feel bad that yeah, okay, maybe I am not that much good in that thing and I am not able to properly do complete my projects. So we started to think we need to change things a bit, and that's why where the change of things helped me a lot. Like uh, we just sit in a casual conversation. I just ask them to how they are feeling on the particular day, or what they want to share about their learning journey, how they are feeling it. So first 2 days they are okay, keep quiet. They don't say that much thing. But on the third day, they came up with different kind of things. Like they don't this kind of rules that I don't want to sit in the circle in the morning. I just wanted to have some dance alone, and then I maybe do my project, and then okay, whatever you will tell me, I will join there. But before that, I want to have some time for myself when I came to the space. So even they came up with different kind of problems, like relationship with others. So different kind of things started to coming here on the space, and we started to think brainstorming all those problems all together, and thinking about what can be helpful for us. So after that we have take some actions, like another tools that helped me a lot, that was personal content personal. Like we made a list the like as in Nook they follow a long project cycle, like for 3 months. Like for 3 months they need to work in a certain or particular project, and then they maybe can able to do other project also. And in between they can learn anything, but they have to make sure that that project has been done by 3 months, or that can be even they can take a much longer time, like they can also carry it to the next cycle. But what happened in between of this long project, they sometimes they feel a bit tired, and they feel some sort of boredness, like we are working in a long project for 3 months, but we wanted to make different things every day. Because when someone started to making small things, they find it so much joy. They started to, okay, I have to make something every day. I don't just focus on long term. So we plan that with personal Kanban board. We make try to make sure what we intend to do for particular day. So they started to writing it down, that what is their ideas and what is on the active list, and what is in rolling to do, and then the conflictors. But as we try, we never forced our learners to do anything here. So we offer them an extra setting, like if anyone can just put their task to the incomplete one, they can take the opportunity of that. So I just wanted to check that if they really take the advantage, or just okay, I'm not feeling okay with it right now, I don't want to do it right now, that's why I'm just changing my track. So I found some mixed outcomes, like there, yes, obviously they are someday taking opportunity to, okay, I want to do something work particular today. I will just take the opportunity to keep it in the incomplete box. But suddenly I started to find things that they are returning the card back from the incomplete to-do list again. Like they are not taking the advantages, they are just taking the opportunity to do the things at the time they want. They don't want. They maybe feel that okay, today I wanted to learn how to make pottery, but at the certain point, so maybe 2.5 hours later, they feel that okay, it's not that much easy. I am not getting any interest in it. Maybe I have to switch in something else. Maybe I will look it later. So it was a nice experience that they started to think taking things back to the idealist again. And even I found something surprising, like other students start to taking things that other people put in the incomplete list. Like one learner put that they wanted to pottery and they just keep it in the incomplete list, but some other learners find it interesting, they just backing it into the queue and they are starting to doing it. So that was a really nice experience to experiment. And what I want to say that in the conclusion, if I want to say, like for my own perspective, that the kind of self-evaluation happen, like learning comes with a negative graph with positive dimension. Like if you ask me 2 years earlier that what I know about alternative education or something like that, maybe I would say, yeah, I had figured it all out. But as time passed on, I also think there is so many things to discover, so many things to try it out. Uh, and whenever I just keep trying with different kind of things, sometimes it comes with joy, sometimes it comes with excitement. Yes, sometimes it comes with failures, but there is always something to learn. And it feels like you know, the when the real magic happen, it's happened when the magician get himself surprised. So that's the journey I faced in last 2 years, and the learning expedition really helped me to settle down people, to self-evaluate them and taking their own responsibility. Like, okay, you don't have to tell us what I have to do or what suggestion I need to take from you. I will figure it out, and whenever I need you, I will reach out to you. So that's the environment right now here, and I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you very much
Thank you.
for sharing. It's great to hear those challenges, because I think it's really important that we also talk about the challenges of implementing these things, of ensuring that people commit to their goals, that they go along, and also in their learning spaces, they use these 3-month cycles. So they need to commit to projects for 3 months, and it's super cool to be supporting them, asking questions, helping them to reframe, okay, what's happening? Why do you want to leave it now? Why is it because there's been a conflict with other friends and now you don't want to work with them as easily? How can we learn from this situation?
But also it helped us to, because now actually, like, trying to manage my own work, I realize how many, like, sometimes I start with one thing and it's like, okay, now I'm not ready for this, and maybe I leave it for later. So we become to realize how do we actually work and organize our time depending on actually our abilities at that time, you know, like recognizing the needs and maybe the struggles that we are facing right now. Then maybe I'll do something easier, and then I'll come back to that. So let's say that motivation is not something that is completely stable all the time. That's something that changes, and yeah, we are all the time learning.
That's right.
Awesome.
And, I'm sharing my screen now, so you can see the 3 rooms that you can join. We're gonna have 10 minutes because we exceeded a little bit the time, but at least 10 minutes discussion for Q&A, divided in 3 groups. So in family learning, you'll find Joao. In community learning, you'll find Brooke and Mahedi, and in school transformation, Claire and Garima. So I'm gonna open the rooms. The people that I just mentioned, they're gonna be invited directly to those rooms, and everyone else needs to select the room that they want to join. So you should see a message inviting you to choose one of those rooms. If you don't see it, let us know in the chat, and then we'll assign you directly to one of those rooms. Okay, so we're back in the main room. I hope you had a little bit of time to chat with each other, to get to know each other a little bit better. I know it was little time. I would like to open maybe for some final conclusions. If anyone wants to share some of the things that they learned, something that they stayed with you. We had 2 rooms, so at least one person in each room to share something. Anyone that would like to do so?
I wanted to share because I was not sharing the room with Brooke and Joe. So we were like, I met them in while doing the expedition with you, and I'm so happy to see their journey, the agile learning, and Joe's also homeschooling his kids because I saw his wife also and kids also hanging around. So it's an inspiration to see you both, and you are just following it. And Brooke has opened her own center, so lots of congratulations to you. I'm so happy. And Joe, I loved all your stories, the way you are handling your kids, and the digestive system story was amazing, and even the rainbow was amazing. So I really appreciate all those things. I loved hearing it.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, Garima. And in the other room, we have Claire.
No, we have Garima and Claire.
And Claire,
then-
yes.
Mhm.
So maybe Claire, would you like to share some final thoughts, something that happened in the room that they stayed with you?
I mean, we were just responding to questions and sharing a bit about what the people in the room were doing. It was a nice opportunity to connect with people, and it was very short. It would have been nice to have longer, but I mean, obviously time requirements. But yeah, no, thank you for the opportunity to meet everyone and to be able to present and share what we're doing at School of Humanity. It was really nice to be able to kind of talk about that with everyone here, and also to learn about what everybody's doing. I mean, there's just so much amazing projects going on and different takes, but ultimately I think everybody's got the same goal, which is to, you know, ensure that young people are becoming the best they possibly could be, and whichever way we kind of approaching that, I think there's a lot of synchronicity in what we're doing, even if the approaches are slightly different. So it's always really interesting to hear about other people's perspectives and how they're doing it and how they're going about it. So thank you for creating this opportunity to learn about others.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And I understand that it was too little time. I'm sure if we had 1 hour, still it would be, because I think each person here has an amazing project going and has lots of experience in education as well. And that's why we put together the digital magazine. Let me share my screen with you, because in this digital magazine with the same name that this event, Transformative Learning Journeys, you have got 20 innovation projects in education from the participants of the learning expedition in the last edition, 2023, from the editions in English and Spanish, because we run this program in both languages. So you're going to have there a lot more insights about the things that they have been sharing about, but also I think we have got the links to their websites, and if they added any contact details or so on, you can find it there. Mm-hmm. We also used it, we thought it was a good opportunity to do a measurement of the impact of the program. Since we conducted a survey at the end of the program, and out of that, we found out that it was being quite supportive for people. For instance, 80% of the participants agreed that the program provided them with the strategies to connect with the children's intrinsic motivation for learning and supporting their self-direction. 78% felt part of a global community of change makers, and 96% increased their confidence in their ability to bring changes and develop new initiatives. And we're so happy about that. And we have seen some real examples about that here, whether Garima transforming her school towards a democratic school, or Brooke creating a new agile learning center. We're still not so happy about that 78%, and we're gonna work on that for the next edition. We have got some big changes that we're gonna tell you about in a minute. And when you see those numbers, maybe you want to know about the people that are behind them. And so we put together the profiles of all the participants that we have had at the learning expedition, which is more than 70 by this moment. And we have got people really from all age groups, or working with children and in all age groups, or as you see here, mostly primary school, and also a big chunk of mixed ages, where these are learning spaces with a progressive mindset, where children are not classified based on the date that they were born, but rather maybe on their interests when they develop projects together, like at the space of Mahedi, or based on mastery level. And maybe, I don't know if Claire's program works like this. There are several schools that work in this way. Mm-hmm. But what I'm most fascinated by is the diversity of approaches through which people are looking at how to transform education. And different roles that we see here, whether being a learning facilitator in an alternative learning center, a teacher in a more conventional scenario, founding or directing schools, bringing changes in their own families. We have got program managers in NGOs and running diversity of projects, and graduate students that are studying to become teachers and also decided to train with us. So, and here's quite well divided across the different parts. And this is a little bit of the kind of continuous improvement that we do with everything that we do, really, for the program. As I said, we're always in every edition bringing new things. And one of the other activities that we do for improvement is to have individual interviews with people that completed the program to gather some ideas about how to make it better. And one of the questions that we ask, considering that diversity of participants, is who is the learning expedition for? And Sifan, who is one of the people that took part in the last edition, and he's the founder of a democratic school, he gave us one of the best answers that I've ever seen. It's better than my own reply to this question. So I'm using his reply to this question, which is that the learning expedition is for people that have a calling for education, but perceive a dissonance. Something doesn't make sense. And this is a process that helps you to find out what you want, how to get there, going through curated contents and a community that is in a similar journey. So I think this summarizes quite well what we're aiming for at the Learning Expedition.
Mm-hmm. And I just shared with you the digital magazine, so please download it there.
You have it in the chat. It's a PDF that you can download with all the projects. Mm-hmm. And we're close to the end of the session, and we just wanted to maybe share a little story with you to continue. And this story is connected with mentors. Mentors can be quite valuable in our lives. They are people that we rely on for their experience, for the journey that they have gone through. And as evolving education grows, every time we have got more internationally recognized mentors. We have got as mentors people that have written influential books, that open education congresses, and that even advise governments. So having this in mind, particularly this last point, it took me to think, what if we develop a leadership development program for decision makers in education to influence them to move towards a learner-centered paradigm? And this is something that I proposed to one of our mentors, one of those that actually advises governments currently. And what he answered was that that idea came from a paradigm that is based on a hierarchical paradigm, where there are some people that make decisions and the rest of society who just follows them without thinking. And that he believes in a society that works as a network, where everyone is connected and everyone has decision-making power. And you know, this is a true story, and it really left me speechless, because I had been working for such a long time on youth empowerment, on democratic education, learner-centered education, and I had fallen precisely on the same mistake that all these different pedagogies are fighting against. And this is believing that there are some people that make the decisions and the rest of them just follow them without thinking.
Yeah, and I guess that the biggest challenge there is understanding that the world doesn't exist. Like, I mean, it exists, but no one knows the full picture. Each of us just see a partial perception, has a partial perception of it. So if we decide to believe that the world or the educational system or schools work hierarchically, they will work hierarchically. Wow, that word is super hard to pronounce. Hierarchically. If we decide to believe that society functions as a network in which we all have decision-making power, that's gonna open up a lot of different possibilities. So now the system is not something outside that we are out of control, but rather we make that system and we are changing that society every day. So if you are creating your class, or if you are changing your class, if you are creating a new learning space, or if you are educating your children in a different way, you are changing the world. And today we have seen many different options and many people that are already taking and making that transformation possible. So, and one thing that you have mentioned, there's not one magic solution that is going to work for everyone. So each of us need to find what works in our contexts. And for that, there are many tools and strategies that we can use to find out and to adapt to the situation. And another super important thing is that we don't have to do it alone. We can do it in a community of people that it's following the same vision, and that we are working together and supporting each other, saying, oh my God, this didn't work, what can I do? And then helping each other in that process, because it's really hard and there is a lot of things that we have to unlearn and relearn in that process.
Make it happen, yeah.
Yeah. So that the learning expedition is like the best way we have found to actually support people to do that, and we are super excited to open up the next edition.
So we're gonna tell you a bit more about how the next edition is gonna work out. So, but before, we wanted to thank to all the celebrities that join us today for sharing their projects and their context, their initiatives, and all the passion that you have seen today from Brooke, from Claire, from Garima, Mahedi, Joao. It's been amazing to hear your stories, and we're looking forward to keep nurturing this community. That this is something I think we can keep on taking forward as an extension of the program to support each other, to keep connecting and sharing insights and learning, because definitely we're going to keep on evolving.
Yes.
And